Hello, everybody. It has been quite some time since I posted on here. I'm gonna jump into this video and let you guys know I am doing a makeup tutorial. So let's get into it. I'm using my L'Oreal Paris pencil, and I really do like this pencil because it's super thin and I can kind of make hair-like strokes. It's probably one of my favorite brow pencils that I've used. I've used a couple of different ones, and this one just has to be my favorite. I always see myself coming back to it. I like this pencil because in the front I can make hair-like strokes and make it look really natural and not too dark. Then at the ends I can make it darker the way that I like to do my brows. And on the other side of this brush, I really do like it because I can go ahead and comb everything out, kind of shape my brow hairs a little better, and yeah, I just really like it. Right now I'm using the L'Oreal Paris as well, their concealer. I think it's the Infallible, the blurring concealer. I just started using this last month and I think I really do like it. I usually use my LA Girls, but this concealer for eyes and under eyes probably has to be one of my favorites, and I know that everybody has different skin types and whatnot, so I know this may not be for you. But it definitely is for me, and if you want to give it a try, it's affordable, which is why I love makeup because you can buy high end products, you can buy low end products, and still achieve really great looks. Right now, I'm carving out the top of my brows with the same color concealer. Sometimes I'd use a different color, but for this look, I am using the same color. And I'm really focusing on making the top as flat as I possibly can, just because that's just the kind of look that I like to go for. And then I connect the bottom. As you can see here, I'm kind of doing a little dabbling motion, connecting the top to the bottom. And then of course I'm diffusing the middle, so I'm gonna go ahead and just blend that out to my best ability and make sure that it looks nice and natural to my liking. After this, I like to go in with my beauty blender and kind of just blend everything out and make it look skin-like, I guess you could say. I sometimes use a brush, sometimes I use my beauty blender. It really depends on how I'm feeling, I guess. For this case, I did want to pick up some of that product and I didn't want too much product on my face, so that's kind of why I'm using a blender versus a brush for this case. Now I'm going in with my Patrick Star One Size foundation, and I honestly have grown to love this foundation. I'm not typically a foundation person, but when I tried this and I got it off the TikTok shop, I fell in love with it. I got it in 3 different shades just to make sure that I can find a shade that fits me. And my perfect shade was 20 NR, but it is winter, so now I'm using 10 NR, I think is the shade if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, it just blends really beautifully on the skin. You can use your hands, you can use a brush, you can use a beauty blender. However you want to apply this foundation, you can go ahead and do that. Oh boy, this is my big one. So now I'm gonna go ahead and apply this foundation to my forehead. And I don't like to put a lot of product on my forehead just because when I apply product, you can really start seeing my crease lines. Hashtag I do not have Botox, maybe I should get some. And yeah, I just really like how it looks. You can't forget the neck, especially when you're doing a full face. You gotta make sure that everything is cohesive, everything is one color, because you don't wanna look like a two-toned girl. You know what I mean? Now I'm going back in with that L'Oreal concealer, and I'm telling you guys, I really love how this concealer works on the under eyes. Like, it has got to be one of my favorites. Again, I used to use my LA Girl, and I still use LA Girl. You can see me using it here for my bronzer or contour, however you guys want to call it. I kind of mix the two. But yeah, I use that to add some color back into my life. And I apply it to my temples, my cheekbones, and then I'm going to blend them together just so I can kind of have like a cohesive, nice base. And now I'm applying just a little bit on my lower lip and my nose so I can have a nice contour. Now I'm using my Morphe brush. This is a foundation brush if I'm not mistaken, but I really love using it to blend out my bronzer because it just sculpts and I can kind of pull it into the directions that I want it to. and you can see just how nice it's blending. And yeah, I love this brush. I don't know what I would do without it. I actually got this brush from the Morphe Pro MUA kit, which you guys can get online. I don't think Ulta sells it. I know you can buy it on the Morphe website, but I bought 2 of them on Black Friday and I love this set. It comes with 20 different brushes and it's really all you need. Now I'm going to go ahead and blur that forehead out. I'm blending my life away. And as you can see, one side does have a little bit more product than the other, so I kind of just, make with what I do. And I try not to apply more product on my face just because I personally don't like a lot of product sitting on my face. And I go ahead and fix everything with powders. Powders is probably one of my favorite steps when it comes into makeup because it really pulls everything together. I'm gonna go ahead and diffuse everything with my beauty blender, make everything look cohesive, and blend everything out. And this is what it's looking like. Now, when I go to my under eyes, this is kind of a different technique. I did want to try something different. I do typically use a concealer brush when I'm blending my under eyes, but for this case, I'm actually using one of the eyeshadow brushes, and I'm only blending out the edges right now, just so I can kind of diffuse the edges a bit and blend it in with my foundation. I'm going to go ahead and blend it a bit more with my beauty blender just to make sure that the colors are synced and it doesn't look too crazy. And once I do that, I am going to go a little bit into my eyes and blend it all together just so it kind of looks, I don't want to say like a mask, but kind of like a mask. And it just sinks in and fits perfectly. Right now I'm doing my inner corner and I'm just tapping that in. I want to leave that area a little thicker. I'm bringing some of that product towards my under eye and waterline just to make sure that I have a flat and a nice flat under eye. I can't even speak. You guys, I haven't spoken to myself on a camera or on a video in so long, so bear with me, I guess you could say. Now I'm just gonna apply some of that product onto my nose and blend it out on the other side of the beauty blender to make sure that the nose contour isn't too harsh, and you can kind of see how that's looking there. Now my favorite thing to do is set my face. This is one of my favorite things to do because powder really does transform the look, I feel, and it really does add another dimension. So as you can see here, I am cutting my nose and I'm slicing it so that it is nice and sharp and so that you can actually see that contour a little bit better. I bring it a little bit down on my under eyes. Sometimes if I'm going for a sharper look, I'll bring it really nice and sharp all the way towards my temple, but for this look, I just wanted it to keep it a simple base, nothing too crazy. And yeah, I just go to town with that powder. I'll put it all over my mouth, all over my hairy mustache, just to make sure that, I'm getting that coverage that I'm looking for and looks tea. Now I'm going in with my powder bronzer. I'm going to go ahead and put this again towards my temple areas on both sides. I'm going to go back to that same placement where I put the cream contour and really, I don't want to say chisel because that's not the look that I'm going for. As you can see, I'm making sure that I'm actually going a little harsher than normal around this area because I really want my eyes to stand out for this kind of look. And you can kind of see the powder is really showing where I'm placing my bronzer. I'm kind of going around it almost, and then I'm just blending it and diffusing it out. Back to my forehead, gonna add some of that bronzer up there just to make sure, I have some color. And then the last step, I just have to add that little pizzazz on my forehead and make that forehead brighter. We're gonna go ahead and chisel out my cheeks next. And this, I love this because it's just, I'm really adding that jawline. Or I guess this is more focused on the cheekbones, but that's exactly what I'm doing here, and this is probably one of my favorite steps. I let this sit in for like 5 minutes, if I'm, counting. Sometimes I'll leave it in for like 2 minutes, but the longer the better, of course. But for this video, I kind of was just like, let me do this one and done and see what this looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and buff everything out with my big puffy makeup brush. And I like this because, again, it's just all blending. Yeah, I'm taking away the powders. Yeah, it's, making the face look nice. But to me, I like it because it blends all the powders that I placed all together. So the bronzer and my highlighting powder. Now I'm going to go in with my beauty sponge and really diffuse everything. So I want to make sure everything looks nice and blended. And it looks like I'm going ham with this beauty blender, but I think it's just the speed. Um, and yeah, now I'm going in with my lip liner. This is my Morphe lip liner. I just got this, I think the same time that I got the concealer, and it is a really dark shade. And I do love a dark lip, don't get me wrong, but this shade was just a little darker than I was expecting, but I made do with what I had. When I line my bottom lips, I start off very lightly just because my bottom lip is actually bigger than my upper lip, and if I mess this up, it really does mess up the look for me. So I start off with a very thin line, and then once I see that thin line, then I'll go in a little darker. This, I actually have no clue what this lipstick is. The brand is like faded off of the lip, so I don't even know what lip it is, but I know NARS has something similar, and similar shade. I do like this, and it's just a really pretty combo. I go back in with my powder just to really highlight my eyes a bit more because I feel like I love that look of having a sharp nose against the eyes, and I think that's what this is doing here for me. And I'll go ahead and leave the powder, and then I'll go in with my setting spray and let the setting spray melt that area of my eyes while melting my face. And yeah, that looks great. For my mascara, I am using Polite Society for this look just because, again, I didn't want anything too crazy. I didn't want a full lash effect going on. I just wanted something nice. I just wanted some length. I just wanted some color, not too full, not too crazy. And yeah, this is how I created this look. And this is a short video, but I'm definitely excited to get back into this, and let me know if you want to see more.